Hey y'all. First of all, please ignore the noise that you're probably going to hear in the background. I'm not in my normal recording spot and it's really loud where I am. So just overlook it and we'll do the best we can. Hopefully, one of these here days, I will have a nice recording booth and nice equipment and all of that good stuff. But for now, you have me in the corner of my bonus room that was a converted garage on a stand with an iPad and a mic I got off of Temu. So, here goes. This past week, I had a vision. I know it was a vision because I don't imagine in pictures. I imagine in words, in colors, in sounds, and in feelings. I know that probably sounds strange, but if someone tells me to close my eyes and imagine a river, I don't see a river. I hear the water moving, I smell the wet grass on the riverbank, and I can feel the water as it splashes on my shoes, but I don't see it. The only thing I see is color. If I'm told to imagine a river, I see the color green when I close my eyes, or blue-gray if I'm imagining the sea. I can see silver for moonlight, yellow for the sun. You get the picture. But I don't see in pictures. Never have. I didn't know this wasn't normal, that there's an actual scientific term for it. It's called aphantasia, and I've always seen things this way. And this is how I can tell the difference between imagination and vision. My visions are in full color, sound, feeling. It's like I'm watching a movie on the big screen. And this last one, it was a doozy. Hi, my name is Carol. I'm a former Southern Baptist, and I'm finding my way back to the practices of my ancestors, following the path that's rooted in my DNA. On this podcast, I'll share the history of the folk magic of the region and share my practice as I learn and grow in knowledge. We'll talk to people from all walks of life who follow different paths of spirituality, looking for the commonalities and the way we're more alike than different. If you're searching for a way to connect to spirit, pick up your walking stick and let's get to exploring. This past week, my husband and I had just settled into bed. We were both exhausted from some home projects, and I was looking forward to getting some serious sleep. As soon as I closed my eyes, I found myself in a field. I was ground level. It was like I was the ground itself. I was surrounded by the remnants of a greenhouse, and there were pots of dead plants all around. Some of the pots were on rickety shelves, and some of the shelves had rotted away. Cracked and broken pots were scattered all over the dead grass. There was no air movement, no breeze, no bugs. I looked up, and the face of a woman appeared. She was as big as the sky. Her face was surrounded by hair and fabric that was floating in a breeze. She was completely terracotta in color. She started to descend to me, and eventually her face was inches from mine. She was old and young at the same time, terrifying but kind. She was the divine feminine. As she hovered there, everything around me burst into life. It was like I was watching a time-lapse video. The grass turned green. All of the plants began to grow and flower. Bees and butterflies appeared. The shelving and the greenhouse rebuilt themselves. It was vibrant and alive. I could feel the breeze, hear the insects, and smell the flowers. I opened my eyes thinking I had just had a wonderful dream, when I remembered I don't dream that way. When I closed my eyes again, the vision was still there. The woman, the plants, the whole thing. At that moment, I went completely rigid. I felt my body begin to lift up. My husband, who was fast asleep, had his arm draped across my waist, and I honestly believe if he hadn't been there, I would have floated to the ceiling. Divine Feminine told me that even though everything appears dead right now, this is what has to happen to bring peace and growth. We cannot build a new reality on the decay of the old system. Everything has to be wiped away for the new to take shape. After the election, I experienced a peace that didn't make sense. The country had just been delivered into the hands of an empire that makes Emperor Palpatine look like a puppy dog. As the weeks and months have passed, and we're seeing the devastation already being inflicted on marginalized communities across the country, I started to feel fear trying to creep its way into my protective bubble. I have family members who will be directly affected by the Orange dictator's policies, so it's completely reasonable to feel fear. This vision brought me back to a place of calm. So what do we do with this information? How are we supposed to remain calm when people are being rounded up like farm animals, when trans individuals can't get passports, when we're watching the complete dismantling of everything we've ever known? To be honest, I don't have all the answers. All I know for certain is what the Divine Feminine has told me, and even that leaves me with tons of questions. What I do know is this: the current administration is throwing all of this at us for a purpose. They want to instill so much fear in us that we go into hiding. They think they'll be able to bully us into submission, to force us to comply. They think we're weak, stupid, and useless. They won't see us coming. The revolution won't look the same for every person. Some will be led to organize protests, to march on Washington. Some will either join or begin new organizations, new ways to help those who will be harmed. Some will be loud, showing up on news stories and social media. Some will stand on the sidewalk and record ICE agents. Some will check on their elderly neighbors to make sure they're okay. All of these things are revolutionary. All of these will be acts of rebellion meant to bring stability to a mad world. And all of these things are important. And it's becoming obvious to more and more people that a spiritual revolution is here. I was settled into my couch last night, ready to binge The X-Files for the 100th time, when my phone rang. A friend of mine, a sister really, called to tell me that she had received my name in meditation. She told me, almost word for word, the same message Spirit had sent me that morning. And here's the thing: Spirit has always wanted to communicate with us like this. She has always been there, whispering in our ears, pushing us to open up to her. But for many of us, we ignored it. We chalked it up to coincidence, or woo-woo, or silliness. Many of us were so indoctrinated by our religion that we were convinced it was the devil trying to tempt us. So, Spirit bided her time, knowing that we would arrive at the moment when she could reveal the bigger picture, the way we are all connected. One thing I've noticed is an uptick in the spiritual content on social media. I think that's wonderful. I really do. But I want to caution you. Not everyone who says they're spiritually gifted is. Some are attention seekers, looking to profit off of scared people who are looking for a lifeline. Remember that there are charlatans in every type of spirituality. The evangelicals aren't the only ones who can lead you down some pretty dark paths. It can be difficult to weed through all of the content creators with witch or magic in their username, mine included. So here's my advice. Listen to your gut. Lean on your intuition. If someone makes you feel a little icky, stay away. If you're receiving a message from Spirit, you'll receive confirmation without having to look for it. It'll come to you in a way so obvious that you can't deny it. Becoming more spiritual doesn't mean you abandon your critical thinking. If anything, spirituality requires you to trust yourself more. And that means you need to develop your logical thought processes. If you're like me and you spent time being told how to act, how to believe, and to never trust yourself, this can be a scary suggestion. But just like every pastor who reads from the Bible isn't telling the truth, there are those who are using the tools of the magical trade to deceive for a quick buck. One way to weed through all the noise is to look at the messages that are being pushed. If someone is always positive, if they're telling you that you're coming into wealth or getting a new job or that all your troubles are over, be wary. Here's a newsflash. Your life is never going to be devoid of trouble. Sometimes it's going to suck. You'll experience ups and downs just like everyone else. Tapping into spirituality doesn't give you some kind of mystical protective suit. If you live on this planet, you will experience all kinds of stuff, both good and bad. That's part of the human experience. If someone tells you that you have the power to never experience anything negative, they are full of shit. The universe demands balance. Also, if you're leaning towards witchcraft just to try to get rich or to stick it to your enemies, do yourself a favor and reconsider. Again, the universe demands balance. So if your intentions aren't focused on the good of the collective, you're looking in the wrong places. I know this may seem like a bit of a rant, but not every pendulum, dowsing rod, card deck, or lit candle contain magic. They are tools, and they can be very beneficial when wielded by a person with pure intention. So you can't know the heart of someone who shares a 60-second video on TikTok. Put those critical thinking skills to the test. Sometimes we get so caught up in the mystical that we forget just how amazing the science is. The mundane can be powerful too. I've been thinking quite a bit lately about my evangelical past and how it's woven its way into my witchcraft practice. It's been a large part of my shadow work. I've been rooting out the indoctrination of the church and discovering ways that it still lives in my mind and comes out in my actions. As I've been doing this, I've been refining my practice. I've come to realize that I began working with deity in an attempt to fill a void left by leaving a religion. Don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong about working with deities. I've personally had to come to terms with how I view deity and how I incorporate it into my practice. I believe that spirit resides in all things: rocks, rivers, leaves, birds, everything. We are all part of the universal tapestry, each organism a vital part. And this is where it becomes difficult to believe in deities as actual individuals. For me, deities are man's way of explaining the connection we all have to each other and to every creature on the planet. We are all divine, so when I say I've been visited by Hecate or the Morrigan or Bridget, I believe that they are manifestations of the divine whole, shown to me in a way that I would be receptive to in the iteration of that particular deity. I hope that makes sense. I want to dig into this a little bit more in future episodes, so if there's something more specific you would like to hear about, send me an email. My friend who called me is my butt kicker. She is the one I can rely on to let me know when I'm getting too caught up in my research or getting too deep in my thoughts. She's a Scorpio too, so she understands that I can get in my own way. She let me know that now is the time to act, that it's time for me to stop trying to be perfect and to allow Spirit to do what she needs to do through me. So here goes. I've started a Patreon, and I've linked it in the show notes. Most of the content will be free to everyone. I want us to get to know each other, share information, and form connections. This is going to be vital as we face the very real trouble the current administration is going to rain down on us. Let's use this community to develop strategies, to figure out how we can help people. Let's put our magic to work. There will also be a paid option where I'll be uploading exclusive content, but don't feel pressured to join. This is in the beginning stages, and I'll be sharing more as the plans fall into place. Most importantly, be there for each other. Listen to your intuition. Look for ways to connect to each other. Remember that witchcraft is all about rebellion. We have all been placed here at this time for a reason. We will be the ones to lead people through the fire, to bring comfort to those who are hurting. Ground yourself, do your shadow work, and roll up your sleeves. It's time to get busy. Thank you so much for listening. And again, I apologize for all the noise and all the paper rattling and all of that stuff. Hopefully I'll get it worked out soon. I can't wait to see what we do when we all work together. My anniversary is on Imbolc, so I'll be on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean somewhere. But I would love to see how you honor the day if you do. So tag me in your videos if you make any, or send me some pictures, or send me an email. I would love to see it. And you can also, if you join the free Patreon, you can add that to the chat. I know that we would all love to see it. And remember, we don't walk in fear. We have the protection of the Divine Feminine, the solidarity of our community, and the strength of our calling. So, until next time, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your fields. Until we meet again, may the Goddess hold you in the hollow of her hands.